What up, what up, what up? This is Merrick Hamilton representing Hustlenomics LLC.
Yes,
And this is episode number 8. We have apartment investor, wholesaler, and real estate phenomenon Aaron in the house today. And we are so pleased to have him.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome, man.
Appreciate you guys having me out today. And look, thanks for the introduction, man.
Man, it's an honor.
And I just met this man. I feel the energy. He's solid, 100, man. I love your energy, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Look, I just I enjoy it. It's sometimes it can be a pain or be a grind, but end of the day, I don't regret any steps that I've taken. So
yes, sir. Let's hop into it, man. How'd you get into this? How you get into real estate?
So man, I started probably around 2014. Trying to understand wholesaling, and I never really had no idea what wholesaling was. And I was actually interested in a house. And so the guy, I guess everything is cash, but he was like, it's all cash. You got to close in like a week. And so I'm like, okay. So anyway, and then, found another one, same thing. So then that's when I started researching what,
so you met wholesalers.
Yeah.
And they was like, you got to have cash. I got this deal. And he was like, wait a minute.
Right. But still had the interest to get into the business on that side. And that side, sometimes if you're thinking, if you want to fix and flip, sometimes, and not always, if you can make that right connection and partner up, you don't always need the money. In the beginning, I used to think that. So if not, as long as you can have that connection. But found out about wholesaling, started, when I was driving, instead of listening to music sometime, and sometime I would because I would get tired of listening, but I would drive and just listen to the guys explaining what to do, how to get started with, really little to no money, or even if your credit is bad. And so that was kind of my introduction to wholesaling. Once I really understood that and just going to a lot of events, sometimes just a every Thursday event for like an hour, 2 hours. And so that was really how I got started. And then I started marketing. And so when I did that, I didn't use a lot of money. And that was recommended, whether you had a lot or not, because the guy was like, if you're not going to be persistent with it and keep on going and keep on, sending out the marketing pieces, and you spending, $1,000, $1,500, you can get burned out and figure out it doesn't work. Right. So I just made copies of these yellow letters. I wrote out about 20 a day, and I just put them out like that. So I just kind of gradually,
so you was mailing.
Right?
Okay, gotcha.
Gradually, building up.
So you're persistent.
Yeah, I think you have to be. And kind of, I look at it the same with working out to see change. You keep the diet right, keep going. You'll over time, and if you can be patient and not want, I guess, that instant gratification, it can work out.
Wait, you're telling me wholesaling is not a get-rich-quick scheme?
No. I mean,
you didn't get that first $100,000 deal, right? Like,
nah.
First one, bam.
No, I wish, and like I'm not like they're out there. I'm sure if you find it, but yeah, I don't think it's because even when I first started out, a guy was like, "Have you ever thought about it on the commercial side?" Now, if you got in on the commercial side, you could find that right deal if you know. And again, that's when the connection, because if you find it, you need someone to sell it to.
Right.
Yeah, you could turn around. I've heard stories of, guy getting the property, running the numbers, turn around and wholesaling it and making $1 million. So it's there, but I don't think it's not the norm.
Yeah. I always think about it as it's like you gotta go through the process. You know what I'm saying? And you can't just go to the big leagues. You gotta start in little league and you gotta work your way up.
Right.
So because you gotta get those foundations, kind of fleshed out in a way. So yeah, man, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree as well.
So what was your first deal? I'm kind of curious about it.
So the first deal.
What was the one where you broke it and you was like, oh, it works?
Okay. The first one, it was kind of a twist to it because it was a house, but it wasn't worth anything. So it was just the land. And so remember, I'm just trying to flip the house, so I'm running comps. But then it came to where, all right, I need to sell it now as a builder. So I really wasn't trying to network with building, not intentionally, but that's just, kind of intentionally I wasn't. So once I found out that, then I just had to research, talk to a buddy of mine where his dad used to build back in the day, did a lot of Googling, what is the average cost of a custom home to build, in Houston, because it was in the Galleria area. So once I
Good area.
once I did that, then I kind of got a price point on kind of, all right, if they're selling at this cost, at this price, and if it's taking this to build, then that kind of helped me gauge what I offer them. So figured that out. And then again, just from networking, met these two guys, man. I think they owned a real estate company. Reached out to them because they at the networking event told me they buy land or lots and stuff. So I reached out to them due to the location. They was like, yeah. So we went on the contract. We probably closed in about 2 weeks, and yeah. So then that one, like, it wasn't obviously a get rich, but it was a pretty hefty wholesale fee, which was, I made $40,000 on that deal.
Not
So,
bad.
That's nice.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, I was,
bad.
almost a little at the time not believing
That's,
it, but
that's a half salary for most people,
That is.
80,000 is about average, so,
right.
Now,
hey,
50K is average, brother. 40K ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah,
I
you
get
right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Congrats. That got you probably motivated. Where'd you go next after that, I guess?
Yeah, that definitely got me motivated and was like, okay, like, it works. So from there, because before, I would take all the calls that came in.
Gotcha.
I did associate a number with it, and that's what I learned from the guy that I worked with. So I in a sense, got a special. Well, no, I take that back. You know what? I used my own just personal number.
Oh,
So when they would call in, that's how I got that. But after that, the same guy that I was listening to on the podcast, because he gave out, it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
I went and actually reinvested it back, and did basically coaching. And even to this day, I just reached out to him not long ago about commercial VAs, and he says, well, we don't do it, but here, go to this site, they do it. So after that, went and got with him, got coaching from him, and so from there, that's when a lot of systems came into play. Using like Pat Live is one I use. So I still get the calls coming in, and it still has a description on it, for example, like yellow letter. But if you're too busy or whatever, it goes to Pat Live, and then Pat Live picks up, and they'll say, hello, City Vibe Properties, how can I help you? They'll take the message, and once all of that's done, you'll get an email. So with that was one thing that I didn't have that was great. And then my marketing went more kind of in a flow instead of me, because again, I took that same money and I started marketing instead of me. Right now, I started using a service, and still, still didn't do too much, but started sending out like 500 a month. Like that. And so that was my next step. And then, working with him. And so that really kind of, I would say, it got me flowing.
So yeah, you just started marketing wise, just direct mail?
Just direct mail. Yeah, that was it. Direct mail, postcards.
Deals. Wow. When was this? 14?
This was
around 15?
So probably 15, man, is when I closed that first deal, because I got in kind of at the end of 14. Probably mid-year 2015 is when I got that first deal. Then end of that year, beginning of 16, I went and kind of got some coaching and started to get the systems set up.
Scaling.
Yeah.
When did you first break into your commercial property investing? Like, when did you buy your first apartment complex?
So I initially got in probably around, I started looking, probably around 17, really, I say probably wasn't really serious until 2018 to really getting in, going to events, really analyzing deals. And I didn't make my first purchase until this year, March 31st.
Congrats. Oh yeah.
Right.
That's beautiful, though.
So
Yeah.
before that, what was in between? Wholesaling? When did you transition from being a wholesaling to being like an investor, saying you want to acquire property and stuff? What was that?
So up until the pandemic, man, I still was, wholesaling.
You was a full blown wholesaler the whole time.
No, yeah, I was always still, still out there doing marketing.
Did you ever have a W-2, like a 9 to 5 or anything like that?
Yeah, so I worked in healthcare on the admin side out of a company out of Virginia. So I kind of was able to work, remotely. So it still kind of freed me up where I could still, do stuff within real estate. And so yeah, so I still did that. And in that meantime, man, I bought a place, then I had to leave and go back and forth. Didn't have a team because me and a buddy of mine were gonna do it, do the work and then outsource the rest. So things got crazy, man. I actually had it longer than I should have. 'Cause it was really strictly just cosmetic. So found a guy, man. Had him do the bathroom, did a great job, and then from there I had him finish it. And then so on that one, then that was out in Kingwood. So then I sold that one. So in between, I was still wholesaling.
And rehabbing.
Right, yeah. Some I rehabbed, I would hold for a year, rent it out, and then I would turn around and sell it.
So why'd you only hold for a year?
You know what? Sometimes I was like, all right, you know what? Let me just take the funds if I had a good spread in there, take the funds and put it elsewhere. So yeah. And that was really the main reason. So,
Taxes?
Yeah. You say that again. I'm sorry.
To avoid a tax hit. I'm just
Just the because if I not a tax guy, because I know if you buy it, flip it, I think that gain, and I don't know, but I know that gain is higher. I'm not exactly sure with it, but if you hold it longer,
it's
like
35%.
Okay.
If you hold on to it for less than a year. And it's 15% if you hold on to it for 1 year or more.
Right. Yeah. So some of that is the benefit too, but it was in a good area, and I got it for a good price. So I figured, you know what, let me rent it out. And actually, before really getting in the multifamily, from some of the people that I had met, and I guess this was their route, and some may differ, but I agree with when I started getting the multifamily. I was gonna get a couple of single families and then go into multifamily.
Makes sense.
But I met a lot of people that had like 20, and once they got into multifamily, they were like, they definitely did good and made money.
Yeah.
But they kind of wish, all right, maybe I should just went straight to multifamily.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, I think it's a tall task to say to someone who's never bought a single house in their entire life, hey man, you're gonna buy an apartment.
Right.
I think the majority of people need to buy 1 or 2 single families and then get that confidence.
Right.
Like very few people just go like, okay, I want to buy an apartment, and then they do that.
No, yeah, like, and I get it, because look, man, sometimes when you think about it, it can be overwhelming. If you think of like, 200 unit or 100 unit, and they want like $6 million for it, so sometimes it's hard to grasp. So yeah, kind of like you say, getting your feet dirty and getting in there and understanding, and then make that transition. So I think, and to me, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. I think sometimes, like, just get in however you get in.
Right. Start making money.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I guess, as they say, don't wait to keep waiting to get started. Just get the education and be smart, but make that step.
I agree, 150%. You have to get in somehow.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and you got in with what, 20? You said 20 unit apartment.
Yeah.
How's your experience with that, man?
Man, it's been good. It's been challenging. I got management now, and I got management now. I'm looking to maybe to possibly take over managing beginning of November myself, and but we're trying to just do a whole facelift of the property, new driveways, totally paint the building, washer and everything wasn't working at all, so got all new washers and dryers, and just trying to get a different, a better clientele, within within the income in the area,
What areas? What's the demographics of the area? Is it a nice area?
You know what, I would class it's in and I think I passed by there. Maybe I just, it's so small I didn't know. It's in an area called Willis, right next door to Conroe. Willis, Texas, right next door to Conroe. Probably 10 minutes from Conroe. I would rate the area as kind of like a C-class area.
Got you.
But I've been out there, talking to some of the deputies and people that are surrounding, and so I got some insight that it's definitely on the rise. It's changing. They're doing a lot of building out there. So to me, that's always a sign I look for. Is what are they doing? They're building, new developments, commercial, or their home builders coming in there. So all of that is, I see that. And then at the same time, just from I'm getting from, the guy that comes and do the driveway, he's from there, and he's like, oh yeah, the area's changing. So, but it's been challenging, but been good.
Where'd you get the financing?
So once I found it, I didn't.
You found it yourself, or?
Yeah, I got it from I saw it before on a site called Crexy, and so I went back to it probably a couple of months later, and that's when I really kind of, dove in and checked out the numbers. And so once I thought it was good, then it was next was okay, who do I, how do I get financing? So some of the events I go to, there's a company out of Dallas, and I reached out to them, but if I remember right, this deal was too small for them. They like larger. So just through networking, I guess, man, I through my email, I emailed, I think, commercial financing. Guy came up, a guy named Clark Finney out of Dallas, and he was familiar with a lot of the networking events I go to and all of them. So I sent him over the deal. He analyzed it, and
you had it under contract before you sent it. Or you just
well, at that time, we were back and forth. I was back and forth because initially, I think they didn't have a buyer. So when I reached out, at first I reached out to the seller. Him literally himself. So I got a software I use, and so I got his information. So I called him. So he was like, yeah. And then I went back to look at it again. Then I saw it was live again.
Right.
So I said, well, all right, look.
Oh, he took it off market, put it back on.
Yeah.
What was the listing price?
He was at 1.9, man, and he wouldn't budge. And me and the guy Clark, he's like, all right, try to get it at this. If not, cool, but see what you can do. So the guy, he didn't budge, and
at 1.9, I'm trying to see how much that is per unit.
So it's right at 90.
90,000 a unit.
90,000 a unit.
bad.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, and so the guy Clark Finney, man, that's what I got. And they won. So he wasn't technically a bank, but he was more of a mortgage broker. So he kind of shopped it around. And got the deal. And then after he approved it, I got a coach I work with. I reached out to him, sent it to him. We got on a call. We went over it, and by the end of the call, is what you waiting on.
What was your emotions behind it? Like, I'm pretty sure he's all over the place. Like 1.9 alone.
Yeah.
I know you was emotional about that one, man.
Man, I tell a buddy of mine, it's like, man, you know what I can go do? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I know that ain't gonna get me where I want to go.
Right,
so
right.
and that's why.
And then I'm thinking about it, and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. It's like, yeah, going through the emotions, taking out this deal by yourself. It's like,
right.
Yeah, it's only me. It's like, it's not me and
Right.
Eric. It's just like,
That's incredible.
me.
Now that I'm thinking
Plus,
about that, you're right.
I got other tenants that if something go wrong, it's me. Yeah, so
Yeah.
but it's a good risk. You get, you got a high upside to the risk that you take. But I can only imagine, man.
What down payment? Like, what was your percentage?
So we went in, if I'm right, at I believe it was 20, man.
So 20% down.
Yeah,
On a
20%.
basically $2 million property.
Yeah.
So that's what? That's 400,000, right?
Yeah, if I remember right, man.
Oh man, that's incredible. By yourself.
478 or
Nah,
something.
congrats. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and I just,
wait.
man, like, because a buddy of mine asked me that, I said, man, like, when I lived in Virginia, I had, for that little time, I bought a place there. I rented it out to my cousin, and I just tried to, kind of be, I guess, smart and save. I ended up selling that, so I took some of that and just put it in that pile, and that was the whole plan. Was when I find that right deal, I'll be ready to go. So.
Man, $470,000 down.
Yeah. So
Congrats, man. You in there?
I
Though.
appreciate it, man. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
That's
So,
bravery right there.
But no, it was scary, man. Like you say, it was emotions everywhere, and as it got, close to the time to close, and all right, this is really
Like,
about to happen.
All right, my bank account says this, and then it's gonna be zero. Like I don't have a comfort of So yeah, congrats,
No, yeah.
man.
So, but no, yeah. Like I say, as of right now, man, and just trying to prepare and better the property, and continue to learn and try to grow.
That's the fun part, though.
Yeah.
Growth is you're often uncomfortable in growth, and so. This one is like, all right, I'm uncomfortable, but eventually I could live. However, I only have to feel the uncomfort
Right.
with this type of play, So
No, yeah.
That's true.
Well, that's I think I guess what you look at is that,
Right.
and that's the part of, I guess saying, trying to be, disciplined. I think we all got our weaknesses.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? But, and so that was my thing. It's like, all right, no, stay focused. And,
What was it, the mentor, or what helped you? Like,
you know what, man? I say the mentor, man, just over the years
tugging
going
you.
to the events and trying to, really change your, what I hear a lot from a lot of them is just your thought process.
Yeah.
You know, so trying to change that, and sometimes that can, that can be hard. You know, I mean, I recall in the past, even sometimes now, but just wasting money, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
buying something you don't really need. And I'm not saying, I think you should definitely, do some
Enjoy it.
rewards.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to change the mindset and looking at, some of these guys where they're at. And that's, I want 1,000 units or more. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
So
but
where
yeah.
do you see yourself? I hear you talking about the future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your goals for your portfolio going forward?
Still looking, man, in a 5-year span, man. I got, 20 now.
That's big though. 20 to say I own 20 by myself. So
Yeah.
congrats.
Yeah,
20,
no, I appreciate
a
it. Yeah,
whole
thank you.
one unit, not just houses, like one unit.
Yeah. So I
congrats.
got 20. Still, I just this past about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 now. Just through the network, I went in on a passive deal, which is 96 units. So I get a little piece of that. But in a 5-year span, man, to really be at 1,000, if not closer. And so
right.
with that, just gotta keep sharpening, keep making connections and networking, and still just actively looking for deals, and because like even some of the deals like now, I may have a little something to play with. Like I found something not too well, kind of right after the 20 unit, and through the network, one of the guys that been around longer than me reached out, and so then we met, and then one of the guys I work with, he's a builder and he does some rehabs for me. He's interested, so we found, I think it was like a 70 unit, but they went with another price. But this guy had experience syndicating, and so I was just gonna come in, and he was like, "All right, well, do you want to put something down or not?"
Were you going to be a general partner or a limited partner?
You know what? Now, if I'm correct, I would have been general, because I brought the deal. And like he said, he's like, "Look, man, you're bringing it. You may take a little bit of piece off, but you're bringing it. I got syndication experience, and so it's almost like me riding on the coattails of him, since he
Right.
has that experience,
Right.
which I
Right.
would love. But and maybe put 50 grand up in it, and just be boots on the ground or anything they might need.
Yeah,
but they end up going with another buyer. So
Oh, you didn't have it in a contract? You just kind of,
no, we put an offer, and they went with someone else.
dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's a part of it, man. You'll find another one, but I guess most importantly, I mean, I love the syndication side where you can just be a general partner,
Yeah.
and
Right.
pretty much your sweat equity is your equity. So that's the play I think we all ultimately want to be. So
Right.
definitely, I feel like you at the cusp of really mastering it. Getting to the point where you know your skill set, finding deals. You've been doing wholesaling,
Right,
so
yeah. Right,
and now
yeah.
you're doing some of the commercials. So hey,
I mean,
man,
in my opinion, the man owns 20 units by himself. That's an incredible accomplishment.
No,
Like,
it is.
I'm so proud for you, man.
Hey, well, look, it's great to hear that, because, man, sometimes you kind of like you say, you sit back and you're like, okay, all right, wow, I got this 20 units.
Yeah.
Something you've been thinking about. And
I really got
finally-
it.
And you did it.
Yeah.
Like
right.
what you did is what me and Terrence are working towards. We're trying to
Right.
buy single properties right now.
Right.
But it's like, that's the end goal of what we're trying to do.
Right.
And that you've done is like, that's the inspiration. That's like,
Right.
okay, we're gonna get there. It's like, it is possible. And the more
Yeah.
people we bump into and rub elbows with who've actually accomplished it,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna be there.
No,
Maybe not today,
exactly.
maybe not tomorrow.
No,
but I'm
yeah.
gonna keep on saving up and grinding and get there. Like, every
Right.
time I talk to Cody, I'm like, oh, you don't know, man. I'm gonna be there one day,
No,
bro.
well, see, look, I look at them guys the same way. They've been around longer than me, and now I've been on a couple of their calls on their properties,
Yeah.
and and I'm just like, all right, that's kind of your drive, and that's why I look to be around them guys, man, and the guys, like the Jake and Genos and I forget the guy's name in Dallas. They call him
Old
the
Capital?
Old Capital, but God, I can't think of the guy's name. They call him the Apartment King. He syndicates. He does training. I don't even know. He probably has 1,500, 2,000 units or something. So, when you around those guys, and some of the guys that I met from Jake and Gino, or even his networking group, them guys are in like 800 unit deals. And some of them, they've, maybe partnered up with 5 people. Some of them they found and they did syndication. So, yeah, so to be around them, man, I think it inspires you and motivates you, to keep moving forward, So I think it's who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, that's what's up.
To me is important, and I think everyone that I listen to and try to learn from would agree. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
But yeah.
Yeah. Was it? You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most of your time with.
Right.
Even if you can't hang out with them physically, I say podcasts, books. Like you can have virtual mentors too.
Right.
Like when I'm listening to Bigger Pockets, or I'm reading the books, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of hanging out with Brandon Turner.
Right.
Kind of. Y'all get what I'm saying?
No, I got you, man. No, for sure. Like
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, man. So I definitely agree with you, 100%, man.
For the viewers, man, what's your favorite 2? I guess let's do 2 books. You could do books or podcasts, or what most inspire you outside of just having a mentor,
What books, man?
or just podcasts. You got any your favorite?
Podcast. The one I started with, man, I haven't listened to it in a while, which was it was called Epic Real Estate, and so that was my initial when I started wholesaling.
Gotcha.
That I just continue to listen to. And then now I listen to guy. Well, I got his book and his in audio. A guy named Dave Lindow.
Where's his book?
I think it's the complete buying guide to apartments. And so he's been around
Sounds like a good
like
book.
20 years. And so he probably has somewhere in, I don't even know, man, 4,000 or 5,000 units. So yeah, so, following guys like that are, got, so much knowledge and information. Besides on a book side, well, his book, I said I was going to read it again. I started out, the first one was, I think, and I hear it a lot when I listen to podcasts too, is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the cash flow quadrant, trying to understand, all the,
The money, the finances.
right. Yeah, that. Another that and I can't remember the exact name of it. I think it was the daily, it was something like the daily routine or something like that to highly effective people, something like that. I can't remember the exact name.
The
But
7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
yeah, there you go.
I've read that book. That book, I think it's good for working with other people because it talks about being. If you're dependent, that means that you can't do anything by yourself. If you're independent, you do everything by yourself. And interdependent is 2 independent people who come together to be able to do more.
Right.
So that's the greatest lesson I got from that book.
Okay. Yeah. So
What other books were you? What other books?
I'm trying to think, man. I feel like I've been, reading a lot of them. Or like I say, through when I'm driving through a podcast or audio book. And I really, for the most part, and I venture out to the book like you mentioned, but if not, I really stay within when I'm, reading or driving and listening. Really, it's all hearing the same thing on multifamily or I'm doing, I do an audio lesson on management, on, how to better manage your property, how to increase the revenue, things of that nature. So anything really around management or multifamily is what I've been targeting, because that's where I'm,
That's your direction.
trying to go in a sense and really just be an expert of as much as I can in and out. So, but those are anything around multifamily.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think we're wrapping up.
Oh, yeah.
Terrence, you got any other questions you
Man,
want?
I just want to commend you, man. I know the emotions on this first big deal,
Yes,
it's all over the place. It's just like, all right, cool. It's another level, man. But I just want to say congrats. And we off to this journey to figure this out together, man. So, man, I if I can be any help, me not knowing as much as you, man, we can connect you or whatever, man. But I just want to say congrats, man. Like, once we figure this code out, man, it's off to the races, man.
No,
so,
yeah.
I mean, if you
congrats
need
on your
any-
first one.
If you need any capital and anyone to manage any of your properties, hit me.
All right. Well, look, I appreciate you guys.
We got to
man.
get a tour, man. Next time we gonna have to bring
Okay.
the cameraman and be
That-
like, man, this is
Great idea.
that.
All right, no, that would
Yeah,
be good too,
definitely.
man. Look, and I appreciate you guys, man, inviting me out. Look, this has been great. Anything I can share, and that's why I say anybody I meet, man, because people that I've met, they've been, some of them been really actually in the multifamily sector. They've all been, in my opinion, amazing as far as giving information.
Right.
Hey, you need anything, reach out, because I think they've been there, so they understand.
Right.
So that's what I say to anybody. Because sometimes like the other day I met a guy and, he sells real estate and we just talking about the area and what do you do? And I told him, he said, oh, I've been looking to get in. So I'm like, well, here, look, call me if you got any questions, man.
Right.
So,
Right
and
on.
I mean that literally, like reach out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Do you think wholesaling was the key though to kind of getting you started to build that wealth to be able to invest in apartments?
Yeah, because I think, like you say, man, it did give me some confidence, and then it got me, because and sometimes when you're talking to people in the beginning, you are nervous, man.
Yeah.
And once you start to, when someone comes in, and everyone sometimes, man, they're rude sometimes. So you gotta, obviously you still gotta keep your composure, but going through that process day in, day out, or going
Toughens you, I bet.
yeah, going to meet them, you start to, feel better. And sometimes, and I ran into some that really maybe know the business, and some of them, because in the beginning, sometimes they're like, oh, you lowballing me. And I'm like, nah, this is why I'm giving you this, this offer. This is the reason why.
Explain it to them.
But I think it just made me much more comfortable, even in the transition of, speaking with, guys that own, they've been around a long time, and they may own, 200 units. I mean, that ain't, unless he just had a hell of a year and he just need to buy something, that guy knows what he's talking about. So, kind of reaching out to him or talking to him could be a little nerve wracking.
Right.
But most of the time, like, I think of it like this, if you stumble, they don't know, but back to what you asked, I definitely think it helped me out to be more comfortable when I approach and speak with people.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
That's something I'm trying to get up under my belt, man. Give me a wholesale deal, cause I mean, they always tell me that if you're doing real estate and you're not talking to sellers,
right,
you're not doing real estate. So definitely being a wholesaler, you're doing that.
No, yeah, man. Look, and like I said, it ain't like, and once you go a couple times, it's like, all right,
it's nothing.
Yeah, you just got to get
code.
yeah. No, right. Yeah. It's like even now, sometimes multifamily, I'm a little nervous sometimes if I trying to speak to someone, and it's like like the guy there, it was like 70 units. It's much more a larger deal, so there's a little nervousness there, but
that's good though. That means you're growing.
Right, exactly. Well, no, I agree. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, if you ain't got no fear, then yeah.
Either you're
fear
growing,
can eat you up, though. That fear can eat you alive.
Yeah, it can.
No, it can.
Well, if you felt no fear, either you're growing or you're just a monster.
Yeah, no, I agree with and it can eat you up, man. So sometimes it's like, all right, yo, you got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta self-talk, man.
No, right. You got to coach yourself through it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like, all right, look, they human like me, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
no, that's the thing. You got to bring it back to earth.
Yeah, human like me, and I try to tell myself too. So I'm like, all right, these guys didn't just pop up and have this. They went through the same, maybe not the same, but they went to some kind of struggle or something to get where they are.
That's true.
So yeah, so some of that helps me to be like, all right, you got this, man. Just try to get as much information and educate yourself, and then just let the rest follow.
This game I need, man.
How much education would you say the average person needs before they just hop right in?
Look, you know what, man? I hear some people, man, when I hear them talk, educate, and I wouldn't say a lot, man, because when I say a lot, I mean I wouldn't tell anyone to wait, a whole year or nothing like that. I mean, I would say, all right, understand how to, learn some terminology, how to evaluate a deal. And then that's why I think sometimes, why I think the networks are key, because you got like we just said, we got we all in here like-minded. We all really going after that same goal. Yeah. So I would say just get a little bit of information, man, and really go. I think the faster you start the movement, the faster you'll get there. And sometimes I'm like, oh man, you should have moved a lot quicker. So
man, you got an apartment, you cool.
So man, he want more.
No, I know. I understand. Yeah. I understand. But from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, you cool.
Yeah. So, but that's if anyone asks me, that's what I would tell them that exactly. Yeah, go get some education, man. But then, go to the events like how I met my man here, and then keep moving.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right on.
Yep.
Guys, this was episode 8.
Yes, sir.
Of the Hustlenomics podcast. And we are out. Peace.